Welcome back to the Sensible Mama podcast. I am Paulina Westcott, your host. Today I am joined by Nikita Lopes. She is a health coach. She specializes in helping mamas with all sorts of health issues. The reason that I have her on today is because last week or 2 weeks ago maybe, I stepped on the scale, which can be a very frightening thing sometimes. And I had this wonderful experience of finally seeing the number on the scale be my pre-pregnancy weight. That's pre both pregnancies, which is it's been a little bit of a challenge. And I thought, I should talk about this on my podcast, and who better to talk to than Nikita? This is what she does. And so, yeah, welcome. Tell us about yourself. I know you've been on the podcast before. Some people may already know you, but for anybody who doesn't, introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Okay, but first, really well done on reaching that milestone. It's definitely hard work to get there, so really well done.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
But yeah, okay, so I'm Nikita Lopes. I'm a health coach at Best Body Health Coach. I'm also a mother of two beautiful children. And yeah, I work with mothers, either moms trying to lose weight after pregnancy, moms even trying to fall pregnant again. They know that they've, fell pregnant once before. They want to fall pregnant again. They're maybe having a hard time balancing hormones after their last pregnancy and, might be having a hard time falling pregnant again or whatever. Even people who haven't had babies before that are now starting on their, journey to become moms, they might want to get their bodies healthy and ready for pregnancy. So I work with moms from all parts of the journey, basically.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a myth. There's a myth I was told. And I'd like to just air it right out right now. Somebody told me, because I gained quite a bit of weight with my first pregnancy. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was more than the recommended range that the doctors want. And somebody said, "Don't worry about it. As soon as you start breastfeeding, the weight will fall right off."
Yeah.
It did not. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
It didn't. Maybe for some people, but what's with that? Like, why is that a thing?
Yeah, I mean, I personally experienced the same thing. I did lose some weight, but also with working with a lot of moms who are breastfeeding, everybody is different. There are these moms that they're just lucky in that way. I don't know. They do breastfeed and the weight falls off and they get back to their pre-pregnancy weight really fast. And there is a mechanism, that is in place for that to occur, but it just doesn't happen with everyone. I've had moms do our health program and they do so well doing the program in terms of the losing weight aspect. They're just able to do the program easily. They're able to, eat healthy, do their breastfeeding, and the weight just comes off. And then there's other moms that they're doing everything right. They're eating healthy food. They're not having tons of snacks during the day. They're not eating junk food. They're doing like really trying hard and like sticking to everything. And they reach a plateau. I mean, you will lose some weight just because of the nature of getting, cleaning up your diet or whatever. But I mean, from my personal experience and from working with those moms, the difference is really just in the hormones and your genetics. And it's just some moms, you reach a certain point and it just doesn't go further than that point.
Yeah.
And, I've had it myself and I tried really hard and whatever, but the amount of energy that it takes to breastfeed, even if you're not breastfeeding, you're not sleeping as much as you were before. You've got the stress of now raising this child. If it's your first child, you're like, what am I doing? There's like the stress of that and everything. So all the factors combined, they all
And if it's
influence
your
whether
second
you're going to
child,
lose weight.
if it's your second child, now you're keeping a baby alive while also making sure the toddler or the older child doesn't go and
Yeah.
get into some sort of dangerous situation.
Right. Yeah. So there's so many factors. So, I mean, I just try to impart to the woman I'm working with that good. You have to be willing to experience the journey. Like you might be the mom that is going to lose weight and you might not be. the most important thing is, are you providing nutritious, fulfilling breast milk to your baby? Is your baby getting what he needs from, or is he or she getting what they need from the breast milk? And are they gaining weight well? Like, and are you doing well? Are you healthy? And are you in a position to take care of your children? Like, are you there and surviving and providing? That is the most important thing. If you're not losing weight, I mean, okay, there will be a point when that will occur again. You know,
I
the
mean,
most
I'm
important.
living proof of that, and you're absolutely right. I remember the first 6 months after my first kid, my body didn't feel like my own. Like pregnancy is a lot. Like there's a lot that happens. Your body does crazy, crazy, unbelievable things when you're pregnant and giving birth. It's crazy, you know? And the first 6 months were really rough on me where my body just felt weird and it was like my insides were trying to find their way back to their proper location and I was still chubby and I was like bleh.
Mhm.
Yeah, my kids I have fairly large babies and they nurse a lot like they grow very well. I am blessed to not be like have no problems producing breast milk. They nurse a lot and I'm like, okay, finally, I think after the 6 months where I was just like not I mean, caved in is a bit of a harsh word, but I was like in my own head and I was like
Mhm.
this, you know?
Yeah.
And I think finally what did it for me is kind of what you're talking about. Like I kind of took a step back and I was like, okay, this is a phase, which has
Mhm.
become like my mantra in parenthood, like this is a phase.
Right.
um
It's just now. It's not gonna always be that way.
Yes, and I'm like, this is a phase where right now my body isn't entirely my own, you know? Like, of course it's my body, but like I am sharing it for the survival of this little human. And instead of resisting that or like mentally shrinking back from that, I'm like, all right, let's just go with it. And
Okay.
okay, so I'm a little bit chubby. I came up with a theory that made me feel better, and maybe this is not true. I am not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I have no medical degrees. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. But my theory is that my body was prepared that in the event of, I don't know, zombie apocalypse or end of the world scenario, I had enough material in my body with which to make nutritious breast milk to keep the babies alive, and maybe some of that was just stored in my hips or in my thighs or in my belly or my giant boobs or whatever. And I was just capable of keeping, like, even if I couldn't eat for some long amount of time, I would have the means by which to keep my babies alive. And be that true or not, it made me laugh and it made me feel okay with it. So I stick to my guns. That's my theory.
Absolutely. I love that. That's kind of what you gotta just step back and have a look at it for what it is. Because it is like that. I mean, that's how I felt when I was breastfeeding, is that it's like you are the only source of nutrition for this baby. Like you alone are keeping this person alive, So that's how important it is to just be available, be willing to do what it takes to, eat the right foods, make sure you're producing the right amount of breast milk. Obviously, a lot of people have trouble with milk supply and other people have oversupply. And, again, everybody's body is different. So you have to go, okay, what is happening right now? Do I need to increase my good fats and my good carbs, even like if you need to increase your vegetable carbs or whatever, so that you're getting the right amount of food and the right amount of calories to be able to produce that breast milk. That doesn't mean that you have to be sitting around eating all day, but there's a certain amount of energy that goes into producing breast milk and breastfeeding. Just the fact of that baby sitting there, taking the milk from your body, that whole that action takes energy from you. And then again, coupled with the fact that you're probably not sleeping as much as you were before, now you're tired and you don't have that energy. So, you do have to make sure that your nutrition is, right, like right on point, because yeah,
And
that's really going to
not to
affect.
mention, you're also healing from the physical action of birthing a
Right.
child, regardless
And that
of how
doesn't
you
take
birth. If
just
you had a
24 hours. I mean, that's like months. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't realize that when I was pregnant with my first. I don't know, like I had this weird misconception that I'd have a baby and then I'd recover for a couple of weeks and then I would just be back to my own regular energetic self. And I was like, terribly mistaken. That was not the case at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think just the wound inside your uterus takes weeks to heal. Just that alone. I mean, not to mention all of the muscles that now need to contract again. Even your joints are having to go back into place again. I mean, there's so many hormones that play a part in creating the ability to have this baby and grow this baby and then squeeze the baby out and all this and then come back from that. I mean, just that alone, how much energy would that take, whether you're breastfeeding or not breastfeeding, you know, to bounce, like there's this thing of like you got to bounce back, and yeah, okay, there's a point of taking care of yourself and making sure you're doing well, but to put the pressure on someone that they have to be back into their pre-pregnancy body and they're like your body, I don't know, is it ever really going to be the shape it was before you had babies, you know yeah, maybe you
So,
might be the right weight, the same weight, but your body shape is, I mean, in my mind, I think it's always going to be slightly different. I mean, you grew babies inside your body. Things stretched, things moved, and I mean, for everything to go back into place exactly how it was when you were younger and when you were, before you had this whole event occur in your life. I mean, I think it would take quite some time if you were to go back to that exact shape of your body. It's not going to happen
right,
overnight. So to put the
right.
pressure on like bouncing back after pregnancy is like the most important thing is just take care of yourself. Make sure you're eating well, make sure you're getting sleep, make sure you're able to provide for your kids. And then once you start introducing the solids and stuff, and your hormones will change as your milk supply regulates. And then even after you've now stopped breastfeeding a year or two later or 6 months, however long, once you stop breastfeeding, there's a whole, regulation of your hormones is going to occur. Your hormones are totally different when you are breastfeeding compared to when you are not breastfeeding. And to try to kind of lose weight and want everything to go back to normal while that's still happening, it's like, it's not normal because this is not a normal activity. I mean, it is when you're breastfeeding, it's normal for that time, but it's not normal for everyday life. For someone who's not breastfeeding, your hormones are going to be completely different to someone who's not breastfeeding, or someone who didn't just have a baby. Even if you're not breastfeeding, your hormones are going to be even 4 6 months after having a baby. If you were to compare it to someone who didn't just have a baby, there's going to be a difference there. It takes
It's
time.
interesting because like we have all these numbers and timelines and this many months and this many years and I mean it becomes kind of, it's like cheating almost to say, well, everybody's different, but it's so true. Where like, and we look at like social media these days is crazy, right? You look at that one mom that like had twins and then all of a sudden looks like an athlete and you're like, what is happening? What's wrong with me? Why am I not
Right.
like that?
Yeah.
Right? But these timelines are different for everybody and it's okay. Like
Mhm.
and you have to make yourself, it's hard because like in the moment, of course you want to be skinny. Of course you want your body back. I don't know. My boobs have met gravity and feeding two boys, it's what 3 years of breastfeeding altogether. I nursed my first for a year and a half and I'm still breastfeeding my second. Like
Mhm.
my boobs are never going to be the same. And I've come to be okay with that. I found a bra that I like. Yay. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like, let's be real. They are not like they used to be. And I am okay with that. Like I'm
Yeah.
like they did something incredible, these boobs. Like,
Yeah, right.
sorry for all the guys
It is
watching. If you're
incredible.
watching, I'm talking about boobs, this happens. But like they did something magical. They are doing still. I'm still, I still nurse my second kid to sleep every night and I'm like, okay, so they look a little funky.
Yeah.
That's a price that personally I'm very willing to pay for like
Oh,
amazing, healthy, miraculous, food.
yeah, exactly. Food that's gonna literally grow a body. That baby's body is using that food to
Mhm.
grow its body, its organs, its brain, its stem cells, its immune system. I mean, it's amazing. And yeah, I mean, as you said, it's not to, create a or like make it okay that you shouldn't try to lose weight or try to get your body back. You should, because again, you are the center of this whole life that you've created. I mean, you are the one who grew these babies. You're the one who's going to raise these babies, and you need to be there for that and for them. So
Right. But let's not
you
let the
are that
number on the
important.
scale dictate how you feel about yourself, right?
Exactly.
Like for me, I think that the more important thing is, do you have the energy, right? Like let's look at that. If you can give that a number, where's your energy level on a scale of 1 to 10? Is it a 1? Because if it's a 1, probably you need to fix some things in your diet. You need to maybe take some supplements that or hydrate or whatever. Like you need to
Yeah.
fix your hormones, do something, because if your energy level is at a 1, you're not going to be the best mom you could be just
Yeah.
because kids require energy. If your energy level's at a 10, but you got a little bit of, thickness around your thighs, okay, great. Sure, work on that, but don't stress about it. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And it actually makes it harder. I mean, that's why I said in the beginning, it's a bit like you have to be willing to experience it and just see how it goes. Like, don't put the pressure on yourself that you have to lose the weight right now. It's again, like you say, do you feel like you've now started this journey? Okay, I'm gonna eat well, I'm gonna make sure I get enough sleep, I'm gonna try to lose a little bit of weight, maybe I'm gonna do a bit of exercise. Good. Okay, so let's do those things. Is it improving your energy levels? Are you sleeping better? Are you able to keep up with your kids? Like, are you able to pick them up, and are you able to crawl around on the floor, and whatever. I mean, you're going to be playing with your kids or climbing on things or whatever, especially if you've got boys, you know all about it. So how are you responding in that way? Like, are you able to do those things, or are you constantly feeling tired, constantly feeling hungry, and those things are going to make you go, okay, you're going to be irritated, or you're going to be tired, or you're going to be snappy, or whatever. Like, those are the things we don't want, So do you
Right.
see improvement in those? Good. And again, also the scale is one thing, but how do you feel like, are you looking better? Do your clothes feel better?
Yeah.
I
So,
mean,
so it's funny that you mentioned that because I want to make a comment about that. I actually gave up on the scale for a while,
yeah,
which I think for me was very healthy. Maybe different people respond different ways, but I would step on the scale and it would say, whatever, 155 or 160, and I was like, for my height and my build, that's not great. And it made me
mm,
feel not great. And so I was
yeah,
like, okay, I'd step on the scale, 157, step on the scale, 159. And I'm like, So finally I was like, you know what? Scale, you and I are not getting along. We're gonna take a break. It's not you, it's me.
okay.
And so we broke up for a little while, the scale and I.
Mm,
But I had a pair of jeans, a very nice pair of jeans that I really, really like. And I put that pair of jeans in the back of my drawer where I can't see them. Every once in a while, I would try it on, and one day it was like the button was like this close, and I was like, "Hey, that's improvement, right?" And I got really excited, and I was like, "Okay, all right." Well, I felt a little bit of hope. I still kept my distance from the scale. Maybe a couple months after that, I put on these jeans and I buttoned them up, and I had a little bit of room for my thumbs in there, and I was like, oh, I'm doing it. This is fantastic. And I suddenly that was the confidence boost that I needed, and I was like, okay, I can start snacking a little less, like I still have energy. I'm going to drink more water. Like, nothing crazy. I didn't go on like some crazy like diet or anything. I'm still breastfeeding, so I'm not doing any like crazy cleanses or fasting or anything like that because I just don't think that those two things mix personally. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna just a teensy bit more mindful because that little bit of confidence from buttoning the button on those freaking jeans
Yeah.
was all I needed. And then after
Yeah.
that, so here's another thing that I want to I want you to know. So I am still breastfeeding. So it's not necessarily when you're done breastfeeding or while you're breastfeeding. It's everybody's different. Your timeline is going to look different from mine because you're a different person from me. But I am still breastfeeding. These jeans, like my hips, I'm telling you, they expanded into new area code. Like they were wide and I was like those are bones. Like we're talking about bones, not fat, right? Like there's no way these jeans are going to fit me because the bones just
The bones.
don't fit.
Yeah.
Your body does these crazy things where these things actually shift. Like my hips got smaller.
Hmm.
I can see it and I can feel it when I'm putting on the jeans. Like my bones don't take up as much space. And I don't know, like who needs to hear that? If you have that one pair of jeans that just doesn't seem to fit, like just leave it in the back
Just
drawer.
keep
Don't throw it
going.
away yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there are, of course, there are exercises that you can do and programs that you can do that are super light and super easy, and they really just focus on repairing your diastasis recti, like your abdominal muscles. I mean, just that alone. I mean, try putting on, if you had a shirt that had to button up, that was like a tighter shirt or whatever, try putting that on. Like maybe you don't even have fat on your stomach anymore. Yeah, lucky for you. But try put it on. Just those muscles have expanded or separated out even just a little bit. You had to grow this huge belly, and also your ribs. They widen, they push out. So there are exercises you can do to pull them back in, and it's really not a lot, like literally like 5 minutes a day, and they'll also just make you feel better.
Mhm.
There's so many things out there that you can do that is not going to be tons of pressure, or tons of you got to go out there and CrossFit or something. It's just good. Take 10 minutes, lie down, do some stretching, do some of these ab exercises or breathing exercises even. So those, I love them because it's like they're gonna help your muscles, but they're also just gonna make you feel better. They're gonna,
Mhm.
you have that few minutes to just chill and whatever. But yeah, that's what I mean. Like the clothes, like those are the things that you should look for. You feeling better? Are your clothes fitting better? Are you sleeping better? Do you not feel like you want to have a snack every 5 minutes? All these things, because those are all indicators that there's something not right in your body. I mean, you shouldn't require having constant, food going into your body to have the energy you need to operate throughout the day. And you shouldn't have to sleep. If you're sleeping 8 hours and you're still waking up tired, then that's also a problem. Like if you're still, you should be getting that sleep. If you are, then great. If you're not, then obviously that's what needs to be corrected. But there's so many, the timeline again, yeah, it's different for everybody. And having on our program, that's kind of, why it's so successful, because you have this coach that works with you every day, and they know you, and they're working with you. They're not working with a cookie cutter version of you, and they're not expecting you to, you know, be like, why haven't you lost weight this week? It's not like that. On our program, it's very much like, all right, you're breastfeeding. Let's start this program. The most important thing is that you're eating well and providing good nutrients to your own body and to your baby's body, and let's see how it goes. You're gonna maybe lose a bit of weight in the beginning, but if you reach a plateau, of course, we have different tools that we will apply, and we'll change some things up to see if we can get the weight loss going again if you want to do that. But a lot of the moms that I work with, I go, okay, let's just take it one day at a time, and let's look at those other indicators that you're seeing improvement. Again, the sleep and the hunger or the rattiness, if you're getting like hangry from not eating for 1 hour or something, those things, are those things getting better? Those are the non-scale goals that we want to see on the program, because obviously it's like, happy wife, happy life, but it's also like happy mom. you know Whether they're a wife or not, it's like if the mom is not doing well, the household is not going to be doing well. You know what I mean?
Couldn't
So
agree more.
it's, that's more what we're going for. Of course, if you're going to be one of those people that's going to lose weight easily while breastfeeding, then great. But that's not going to be our goal. Yes, of course we want, it's not our only goal. We want you to lose weight, and you will probably lose some weight, but don't have some preconceived idea in mind. Don't think I have to get to this, and if I don't, then, because the stress of that just makes everything worse. Like putting that pressure or that stress on yourself is just, that's what I try to kind of, go over and get out of the person. Good, let's just set that aside. We don't have any standards we're trying to reach in terms of that. Like, you will lose weight when your body is healthy and all hormones are balanced. The weight will come off. There are hormones that specifically burn fat in your body, and when everything's regulated, you start losing weight. So sometimes it only happens once you stop breastfeeding. Sometimes it only happens once you introduce solids to your baby or supplement your breast milk, and there's so many factors. So that's what I find is cool about our program, is because it's like I just talk to the person. What are they experiencing? And every day is different. Great, yesterday this and this happened, or even if they feel like, good, now my milk supply, I feel like my milk supply is going down because I've started doing something different or whatever. Good, okay. So we'll just take it back. Let's introduce some other types of foods and get your milk supply up. Like, it's so simple to just add that kind of order into your life. Like, it takes the stress off of it. You've got this other person there that's there to help you and go, good, what are you running into today? Let's do a little bit of this, let's do a little bit of that. And as you go, you'll start seeing those various improvements, and you'll be able to maintain them whether that person is there or not. But yeah, it takes a lot of stress off to have that other person there, and like even just to talk to them and say, good, this is what's going on, blah 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 blah, or whatever. So
I love
yeah.
that. I love that. So just we're at the halfway point of the episode, but I'm gonna do a shameless promotion for you guys. Um,
Thanks.
you guys have not personally been a coach for me, just full disclosure, and I'm not paid to say this, but I cannot go on Facebook these days without seeing somebody that I personally know, like very many close. I probably could list a dozen people just off the top of my head that I personally know very, very intimately that have benefited from the program that you guys run. And it's not the normal, oh, I did a whatever, such and such a diet and I lost a bunch of weight. Like, those are not the success stories that I'm seeing. I am seeing success stories about weight loss, yes, but that is not all that there is to the story. Like, one of my friends, a very close friend of mine, I've known her since I was like 6 years old, recently mentioned that she has been doing the program for, I don't know, a couple weeks. She's lost a whole bunch of weight. But then the other thing that she mentioned is like 3 or 4 days into the program, she had some arthritic pain in some joints, and it just disappeared because she was doing the right things that her body needed. And of
Mm.
course, she's an individual at her age and having had however many kids she had and her own, whatever medical issues or whatever that she may have. And you guys worked with her very individually and are still, she's still in the program. And it's incredible. Like these are people that I know personally. Another, I don't think she'll mind me saying, but a couple weeks ago I had Dr. Jenny Lane from Mama
Mm.
Bear Chiropractic on the episode.
Yeah.
And I know that she's done the program with great success. And I watched a video with her and Nick, the founder of
Yeah.
Best Body Health Coach.
Yeah.
Um, and she was like, maybe one day I did something that was off the diet, and I had a piece of chocolate or whatever it was. And there's no like, oh, you're bad and you're not listening. It was like, Oh, okay, so you were craving sugar. Okay, let's figure out what's behind that. What's actually causing that situation? Like,
Exactly.
that's not optimum. Thank you for telling me. But it's not like, oh, you're bad. You're just not sticking to the program. Like, it was, let's work together and figure this out together. And I thought that was so refreshing and so unique. And I don't think that you get that from just doing a diet or, these
Yeah.
fads that people go through or whatever. I think that was very, very cool.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things that we like really strive for, is to have it not be a fad. And it's really a lifestyle. And each person gets their individual program with their health assessment that really looks into which area of your body are you having a problem with. Is it hormones? Is it adrenals? Is it thyroid, ovaries, liver, even your digestive system, whatever it may be? We have so many tools. And again, it's a daily thing. You've got this daily coaching happening. And that's why, we can create a lifestyle with the person. We work out with them along the way. Good. They see this is what works. This is what gets results. And of course, on the program, it's a bit more strict while you're on the program, but throughout that time, we're building with the person. Good, this is all of the information about why these things work. Now you take it with you, and things are a lot more relaxed after you complete the program, but you continue that lifestyle in a workable fashion, a sustainable fashion. And we help with that transition as well. So it's not just like you came, you did the program, and we're like, okay, cool, bye. Good luck for the rest of your life. We're like, okay, here's some info that you can use to now maintain this lifestyle. And how do you reintroduce certain foods into your diet, and how do you monitor your body? And it's really, we don't want it to be just like come do the program, lose a bunch of weight, and then go back to old habits. It's really an educational process. It really is. So yeah.
So I have something that I say that, that I really, really believe in and is actually the foundation of the whole Sensible Mama project is you get control through knowledge, right? So
Exactly.
if you have knowledge of anything, this applies to anything, driving a car, having a baby, um, taking care of your health, I don't know, you name it, this is a fact. If you know something, you are then able to take responsibility for that, right? So you know how a car works and how to drive a car, you can take responsibility for driving the car. And if you can take responsibility for driving the car, you have control of the car, right? So if you ever feel like any part of your life is this is the whole thing behind Sensible Mom. Like my goal is to give mamas control over their birth outcomes through knowledge.
Yeah.
Because if you
And
don't know, there's
hmm,
not a chance of having control, right?
yeah.
And so with you guys, the philosophy seems to be very, very similar, where if you don't have control of your health, your weight, or if you have medical conditions, if you don't have control of your hormones, if you don't have control over this or that or whatever, probably, no, not probably, I guarantee you are missing knowledge. And without that knowledge,
Yeah.
you can't take responsibility for your health. And without that responsibility for your own health, how can you possibly expect to have control?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's exactly what I want to, what I want to achieve with moms who I work with, is that good. If you're gonna have babies, more babies, what we're doing now is gonna set you up for that too. We're not, yes, we're dealing with your current situation, but enjoy the experience. It might be your first baby, might be your last baby. You don't want to be rushing through that so that you can lose weight, or rushing through that so that you can, whatever. You want to be there and enjoy that time. And yeah, at the same time, lose some weight. That's fine. But be there, be present, feel healthy, enjoy the time. And when the breastfeeding is over, or when that stressful period of, figuring things out with the new baby, etc., is over, then you'll have more than enough time to balance hormones and lose some more weight or whatever. You don't want to be like, I gotta do it right now. And then next thing you look, this baby's like already grown up. And, it's like, you want to be able to be there and enjoy it. And that's also where the healthy lifestyle comes in. It makes you that much more aware and that much more able to be in the moment and enjoy it without having attention on, you know, oh, why do I feel this way? Or not even being, there because you're so tired or so fatigued because of something that is apt, in your body. Yeah. So, yeah, I really
Yeah.
enjoy it.
You got somebody sneaking around back there.
Yeah. Baby woke up.
Yeah, that happens. And it's funny. Another recent theme in the last few podcast episodes is when you become a parent, a lot of the time you want to be better, right?
Mm. Hmm.
There's that drive where like, you know, I I was never like horribly, that's not true. I had a phase in my life where I was terribly unhealthy. But like for the most part I was always more or less aware of like, okay, well I shouldn't be, drinking 8 cups of coffee a day or,
Right.
whatever.
Mm.
Um but there was no like urgency in my world to change the bad habits that I had. I was like, yeah, eventually I'll stop drinking 8 cups of coffee a day or, smoking or drinking or whatever it was that I was doing or, you know, living off of chips and I don't know, hummus. Not that hummus is bad, but if all you're eating is chips and hummus, that's, not
There you
great.
go.
And there was like, okay, yeah, at some point I'll get better. I'll do better later. And
Yeah.
then I decided to have a kid and I was like, I'm being selfish. Sure, I want to indulge in these, pleasures, which I put it in quotes because I think about it now and I'm like, I don't want
Mm.
those things anymore.
Mm. Mm.
Um, but I decided this body is now going to be a home for a little tiny human. And that little tiny
Mm.
human is going to rely on this environment exclusively to build the entire body. Like,
Yeah.
that is so much pressure,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, I need to clean up this home for this new tenant that I'm going to have if I want this tenant to be a good, healthy, high quality tenant who is is going to do a good job, right? Like building a body is a lot of work for you and for baby. Like it's not like you said, like it's not something you do every day. It's not a normal operating basis.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was like, for me, that concept of parenthood was like, okay, I'm going to be better. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do the right things now. And now like I'm still, I'm very aware of what impacts my body. Like I'm like, oh, I definitely overdid it on the sugar today. I am cranky and like whatever. I'm more emotional outbursts, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's because yesterday I, didn't do this thing that I know I'm supposed to do, or I stopped taking that vitamin, or I'm not hydrated and I get really cranky when I'm not hydrated. And what is hydration? It's not just water. And I've learned so much about my body. And I think it's because I have this higher purpose. Sounds very,
But it's
you know,
true.
but it's
Yeah.
true. It is a
Yeah.
higher purpose. I'm not just living for me anymore. I am
Hmm.
living for these children and I want to be the best possible mother that they could
Yeah.
have.
Exactly. I agree. And it also introduces, good habits for your children. I mean, you think about it, what you're eating while you're pregnant, the baby's getting too. So if you're going to be introducing high amounts of sugar and refined carbohydrates, that baby's palate, I guess, so to speak, is going to be so conditioned or used to those things. And that's what the body, not even necessarily what they mentally are going to want or crave, but also just the body. I mean, I don't want to compare it to like someone who takes drugs, but just as an example, right? Like now this baby has to withdraw from drugs if it's born addicted to drugs. It's similar in the respect that that is what it was receiving while
I
it
mean, it's
was
an
growing.
extreme example of the same
Yeah,
thing. It is, of course,
it's
it's
an
an extreme
extreme
example.
example, and it doesn't have the exact same effect, but I mean, it can affect things later. I mean, if you have gestational diabetes or whatever, I mean, those things can affect the baby, and you can say, you're pregnant and you've got these cravings and whatever, and you could give in to those things. And I'm not going to say that I didn't give in to a craving here or there, but to have the idea that it's okay to do it all the time or throughout the entire pregnancy, and not have a concept of, am I going to be growing a healthy organism by providing it with these nutrients? Are these nutrients going to create a healthy immune system, healthy cells, healthy organs? Like, what nutrients am I providing to this organism? You know, because when it starts, it's just a bunch of cells that are multiplying and, very rapidly. So, these cells are being built by something. So what are you providing it, to build itself with?
It's like the
So
most literal form of you are what you eat, right? You are what your mama eats. When you're in the womb, that's the
exactly.
building blocks you got.
Exactly. And that's why I find that it's so important to, I mean, you should be doing it quite a while before having a baby, but again, not everyone has that ability to plan ahead like years in advance, like what you're going to be eating, whatever, so good. A good time to start is now. All right. So you found out you were pregnant. Good. So let's clean up the diet and provide the best nutrients you can to this baby. And even while you're breastfeeding, I mean, not the sugar isn't necessarily going to be directly being transferred to your baby, but it is to a certain degree in a diluted form. And again, so now it's gone from getting those nutrients in your belly to getting it from the breast milk. And then when you're going to try to introduce solids, now what are its preferences going to be? Are they going to be, uh, eggs and broccoli and spinach and all these healthy things that it should be getting to build a strong immune system or whatever, build good gut bacteria? Or is it going to want something that it's used to? Is the baby going to want something that it's more familiar with? So, it's just, if you think in futures, that's what, those are the things you got to think with when you're taking care of yourself, but you're taking care of your future baby by taking care of yourself. Like, that's how important it is. Like, I mean, a lot of moms also ask me, because my kids don't eat any sugar. They don't eat any sugar at all. I give them alternatives. We make nice food. They have treats. They have birthday parties. And that can be a whole nother subject, I'm actually starting on a whole recipe book and everything in that area. So that's
Oh, I
exciting.
love that.
But yeah, that'll come later. But a lot of my clients ask me because, and people that know me, they say like, how did you even do that? Like, how do you go, like my daughter will go to a birthday party where there's, cupcakes and cakes and things that are filled with sugar or chemicals or whatever. And she's just not interested. She'd be like, Mom, what's in this? Is there sugar in this? And I'll be like, yeah, there's sugar in that. And be like, ah, okay, I don't want that. But how do you create that? How do you create a child who doesn't even have a craving for that kind of a thing? So I mean, obviously also every child is different, and but there is a way that you can influence it. You can influence a healthy lifestyle. You can influence a healthy diet in a child, just like you would influence anything. I mean, if you're, you know, whatever, just behavior, you can see it in behavior too. If you're being all like snarky or whatever, then how's your child going to be acting? Well, if you're doing that all the time, your child's going to learn from what you do. So if you're setting a good example in that regard, not even just what they see, but again, what they got in the womb, what they got when they were introduced to solids, like how do you create a child who has a healthy lifestyle, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they say who's they? I don't know. There's a term which
Yeah.
is formative years, right? They say the
Hmm.
formative years are the age 1 through 5 window.
Mm.
And depending on what you read and depending on, what you're looking up, it refers to different things, but I do think that there is some truth to that where those formative years, like it's not to say that if those formative years you make a single mistake, they're doomed for the rest of their life. It's not that dramatic, but I look at it more from the optimistic side where during these years you have this opportunity to build a foundation for their life, right? Um, whatever that means. I'm like, you talked about like behavior, right? If you're snarky, if you're always exhausted, if you're always tired as the mom, or the
Mm,
dad if you're listening, um, then this is what the formative years will be, right?
yeah,
And if
yeah,
you're happy and you're energetic and you're excited and playful, then that's the foundation. And again, it's
exactly.
not to say that if you're like going through something for a year of their life while they're, 2 years old and you're just not super there, the point is work on it, right? Like it's it's okay if you mess up. Like
Yeah,
it
of course.
happens. I'm sorry. If you're a
Everybody does
parent,
it.
somewhere you're gonna mess up.
Yeah.
Just the nature of parenting.
Hmm.
But your kids also learn from you growing. Like when they see you working on something, if you were impatient, and then you have a conversation, like I'm very honest with my kids. I try very hard. Where if I snap at my kid, this happened the other day. Whatever happened, whatever my excuse was, tired, hungry, I don't even know. I don't even remember what it was about, but I was like, blah, 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 don't do that, mama, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah. Oof. And then I looked at it, I was like, "Phew, that was embarrassing. That's
yeah,
not me. What
yeah,
happened?" And so I like chilled myself out and I went back and I said, "Hey buddy, I'm really sorry. That was not okay and I shouldn't have yelled at you." And he goes, "It's okay, mama." And he gives me a hug and he runs off. And it was like not this like big profound anything. It was just like a 2-second conversation when I said, "Sorry, I snapped at you." But I would like to think, and I hope that the fact that I do that is maybe he doesn't remember it. Maybe when he's in his 20s and his 30s, he has no recollection of that conversation, and that's okay. But he knows that, you can be retrospective and you can look at what you did in the past and become better and communicate about it and be open about it. Like if I can instill those sort of habits, I guess,
yeah.
but those core beliefs, those core ideas, I
Mm,
think I'm setting them up for a win in life. And the same thing with
agree.
nutrition. Like you're saying, like
Yeah,
if you're just, hey, let's try something new, let's try new
yeah.
foods. Some kids won't. Okay, so some kids live on chicken nuggets and french fries. Let's at least try to make those chicken nuggets organic and do the best you can with what you got. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to pressure moms into your kids have to eat cod liver and broccoli, and if they're not, you're a failure as a mother.
Exactly. Yeah. That's not how it should be. And I agree. It should just be, let's try to improve. Again, like be retrospective and go, what am I setting my kid up for? Are they going to be surviving on fast food, or are they going to understand that there are certain nutrients that your body needs and, you should try to incorporate them? And I think it'll be similar to, what you said, like if you snapped at them or whatever and you say, okay, I'm sorry about that and I'm going to try to not do that anymore or whatever. I feel like there's a lot of focus on that. There is over the last few years. I mean, obviously, there's different forms of parenting, and there's a lot of info out there on how you should do this and how you should do that, and you know, getting communication with your child rather than just, snapping or whatever. There's so many different schools of thought on the subject, but there's a lot of awareness about it, is what I'm saying. And I feel like it is more becoming that way with nutrition as well. With a lot of, you know, families growing food at home and, even with a lot of families doing homeschooling and, doing that kind of lifestyle, the farm lifestyle and whatever. But so that awareness is coming up with nutrition as well, but it has been a little bit lacking. Like it's been more focused on their behavior and intelligence and ability to be logical or whatever. So I feel like that same awareness also does need to be applied to nutrition because, the amount of disease and illness and whatever that's becoming more prominent in this day and age because of non-organic foods or extreme amounts of sugar being ingested or sodas or this or that. I mean, so where is that? If that child is going to continue to eat that way now, what are you setting them up for in the future? And what are you setting up their children for? If that's how they think they should be eating, then what are they going to feed their children when they're young? So I feel like, there has to be more awareness on it. And again, it's not to pressure people into, oh, you messed it up. Now there's no turning back. Like, there is always a way to introduce it and make it fun and make, exciting alternatives and get them to help you bake the stuff or, grow the stuff or whatever. Like, if they grow their own broccoli plant, they'll be more willing to eat it than if they just got it served on a plate, like get them involved. Like there's lots of ways you can kind of make it fun and exciting and like a change. Like, good, look, guys, so this stuff actually has these chemicals in it, and this is what it actually does to your body if you eat too much of it, and it's really not good. So we're going to try to eat less of that. And I've got this really cool new recipe book, and it's got all these fun things like cupcakes. And I mean, I think now I saw there's this recipe kind of trend where they take two boiled eggs and they make a chocolate pudding out of it. And it's like, I'm like, okay, cool. If you're a kid, literally they take two boiled eggs and they put it in a little blender with some, I think maybe a spoon of yogurt and some cocoa powder and a little bit of the sweetener of your choice or whatever, and you blend it up and it literally turns into this chocolate pudding. You put it in the fridge for like an hour and it turns into like a nice chocolate pudding consistency. And your kid is literally going to be eating two boiled eggs and a spoon of plain yogurt. I mean, cool. So those, like, there
Like
are,
some sort of sorcery, but okay.
I know, right? But there's been so many people who have done it. I've seen on social media that it's like they've tried and like, I don't believe this. And then they go and do it and then they're like, this actually tastes like chocolate pudding. And it's just
I'm
too
going
good.
to look that up and I am going to try it because I am just
I'll send you a link for it. I haven't tried it yet myself. I should before I promote it, but I'm just saying that there are alternatives. Like, and that's what I do with my kids too. We find ways to make something that is healthy, like, more fun, because obviously a kid is not interested in eating a plate full of green leaves, but there are ways that you can make it fun and exciting and introduce it, even if it's slowly. It's a start. You got to start somewhere, and you keep in mind, what am I setting them up for in the future?
Mhm.
How is their health going to be as a result of these new things that we're trying and we're putting in? Is it going to make them healthier in the future? Good. It is. So great. Let's figure out other ways to do it. So yeah, I feel like that's something that I want to continue to promote, as and raise awareness on, because it's so important just for the future generation, not even just for right now.
Yeah, well, when you have this cookbook ready, definitely we'll have you back on to just shamelessly promote it because that sounds
Oh yeah.
amazing.
Nice.
Speaking of shameless promotion, we are coming to the end of the hour here. So, where can people find you? Let's say we have a mom out there. Actually, before we get into how people can find you, why might someone want to find you? Who should we invite to at least explore your services?
Okay, well, I did kind of mention it at the beginning, but I work with moms or women from all uh, parts of the journey of being a woman. We also do work with older women who are going through menopause, and that obviously comes later in life, but there's so much that happens way before then, and so much that you're dealing with. I've worked with uh, women that are just trying to be healthy, okay? So just any woman, but also women trying to fall pregnant. Maybe they've had a few unsuccessful pregnancies. They want to clean up their health and get full pregnant. We get them healthy. We figure out what's going on. Have helped many women fall pregnant as a result of doing our program. And one lady that she had a baby and she came to me to lose her baby weight. She lost her baby weight. She had had a few miscarriages originally when she had tried for her first baby. So she was a bit concerned that she wanted to try again and she didn't want to go through all of that again. So she had finished the program a little while ago, and I said, okay, well, why don't you just do another month with me? And I want to do some things to kind of prepare you for when you start again. And she did it, and literally, like, her first try, her first cycle, they started trying and fell pregnant. She was like, this is, it just, and obviously I can't guarantee that's going to happen with everybody, but I can guarantee that you're going to be that much closer and that in that much of a better position to fall pregnant or, grow a healthy baby. So I work with moms in that aspect as well, but also a lot of moms who've had babies wanting to lose their baby weight. Even just some moms who get it that they're not necessarily going to lose all their baby weight now. They just want to be healthy for their baby, for the breast milk, etc. They just want to be healthy. So I do that as well. And then again, moms that have finished breastfeeding and they want to get back into exercise, they want to get back into being who they were before their pregnancy, etc. So we do that as well, after all the breastfeeding has finished and everything, and we can get into, some real intermittent fasting or whatever if people are interested in that. Like we have so many different aspects of our program. So yeah,
Love that.
anyone
And
and everyone.
how long is
So
your
yeah.
program of one-on-one coaching? How long does that last?
So our initial program is 60 days. We start out with the health assessment and we do a full consultation to really get into what's happening with that person. We create a personalized program, and then once you've kind of got everything in place, you've done your grocery shopping and gotten some supplements and stuff, then we start you on your 60 days of coaching, and then you get your daily coaching for the full 60 days, and we help you with the transition once you finish the 60 days, how to now continue with the healthy lifestyle, etc. Some people come to us and they've got, quite a bit of weight to lose or a lot of work to do. Maybe they've got health issues. So they do our 60-day program, and then maybe they're doing really well and they want to carry on and they feel like they don't want to do it by themselves. So we do have a month-to-month option following our 60 days. And a lot of people stay with us until they reach their goal weight or until they've handled specific aspects of their health that they're interested in solving.
Amazing. I
Yeah,
want to link to all of your, socials and websites and all of that. I'll put all that in the description.
cool.
This was amazing. I love our chats. We'll do it again soon, I'm sure.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I always enjoy them too.
Thank you, everybody. I'll see you in the next episode.
All right. Bye.